Bonjour. So how are you?
I'm doing well. It's you're my first appointment in the morning,
Good.
and we have a few visitors coming, which is nice to have compared to last year where we didn't see anyone. We're seeing a few customers coming to the property.
Oh, that's good. And what's the general impression from people?
So far, so good. People are happy to be back, and I think they taste the wine pretty well. Yeah, feedback is very good.
Good. Well, the wine's obviously, excellent. At least what I've tasted. I've tasted almost 900 wines now, and very impressive across the board.
Yeah, it's nice wines and a good balance, not over tiring.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of good energy in them. And I was thinking, was this the first year you did everything in the new cellar, or was it last year?
Oh, it is this year, first year.
Oh, great.
Yeah, we inaugurated the new winery with the 2020 vintage.
And just tell me, what do you think? Like, how did it help you in the winemaking? What was so great to have this amazing new winery you have?
Well, it's a completely new process for us. We're back to a gravity cellar, which we used for 110 years and stopped in 1975. So now we're back to the same process that was at Lynch-Bages a long time ago. I think the immediate impact is coming from the winery. We doubled the number of tanks. We have 80 tanks now of smaller capacity. So in terms of blending, that opens much more. We're much more precise in the vinification, smaller lots, and in the blending process that results from it. I think we go further than we did before. After all the other aspect of the techniques, we'll see the impact over a few vintage. It's a little bit early to say how it's going to impact on our wines, but the fact to have double the number of tanks is very important.
And so, yeah, in any case, like in terms of being a winemaker and the owner of your estates, it just feels better to have this like amazing facility to make wine.
Yes, it was. Well, after 4 years of renovation and seeing the end of the project and being able to use the winery for the first time, it was quite emotional. We have small cuvons that we push over the catwalk to put the grapes in the tanks, and when the first one was filled up and lifted above the tanks, and we had to push it. We were a few family members and staff to push it and to let it flow into the tank. That was quite emotional. Yeah, we were very happy.
It was like launching a new ship or something. You had to break the champagne. But I wish I was there. Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
And what do you think about 2020 then? What was your impression now?
2020 was a particular vintage because first of the sanitary conditions and now we had to prepare for the harvest. Overall season was not too stressful. It was characterized by minimal rains, especially in July, that stressed a bit the vineyard. With the early bud burst and the start of the season that was very early, we harvested something like 2 weeks before a little bit less than 2 weeks before normal dates, and we ended up with small yields before the month of October. So it was not too stressful in terms of vegetation, but in terms of preparation for this harvest, dealing with the COVID situation and having 150 pickers to come, some from Portugal, local ones, etc. We had to be very careful in how to handle this, because we wanted to make sure we could finish the harvest with enough pickers.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people don't talk about that, but you had to be really careful with COVID.
Oh yeah, we tested everyone before we started.
And luckily, well, and you pulled it off. And how did the Cabernet look? Because I know that there was some rain from the 24th of September onwards. Was that a problem, or because the grapes were thick and small, there was no problem really?
Well, we ended harvest, if I remember correctly, something like 27 or 29 of September.
Okay.
So it didn't impact very much. No, the Cabernets were very good, perfect sanitary conditions. No problem, no pressure of rot. But the yields were very low on Cabernet. The drought implied that we had very little juice compared to skin, so it ended up making very concentrated Cabernets, but with very limited yields, which overall impacted the yields throughout our estates. So we on the smaller yields at Lynch-Bages since 2013, which was a very low yield vintage, but for different reasons. So yeah, it was quite drastic, the impact of drought on the Cabernets in particular.
And so was the Cabernet, the berries were smaller and thicker than 19 and 18?
Berries were smaller. Yeah.
And so what's your impression then, if you compare just you for your estates, particularly Lynch-Bages and Au Bataillé, what like how would you compare 20, 19 and 18 stylistically or even quality?
First, it's very difficult always. I mean, I understand people asking the question, but it's always very difficult at this stage. What I can say is that it's nice trilogy of vintage.
Yeah.
And we have definitely a wine of great quality, great potential to age, perfect maturity, but with a different balance. There is the same phenolic ripeness on the 20s as there is on the 19. But in terms of alcohol content, it's amusing to see that there is lower alcohol this year.
I saw that.
18 and 19 were higher notes. We're back to a classical year in terms of alcoholic maturity, and that makes the wine very well balanced and very not overpowering, but very well in place.
And so, what's the alcohol level then?
13.4 Lynch-Bages. Even though on Lynch-Bages we have this year more Merlot than we regularly have. It's 13.6 on Au Bataillé, which has a bit more Merlot. And on the Pez, which has a majority of Merlot, is 13.2.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
fun. Yeah,
yeah,
but yeah, like maybe a half to a whole percent less. And by the way, your new label is pretty cool.
nice, huh?
Yeah, really nice. Pleasure.
We've changed the label when we took over the property a
Yeah.
few years ago. But now the wines are starting to be available on the market. So hopefully you will find more of those in Hong Kong very soon.
I look forward to it. The 20s are interesting because, at least at this stage, but maybe because in the past I always tasted so early. But now in the first day of May, the wines show much more character. You know, when you taste them in mid-March, you just get primary fruit. Now you're really getting the character, you know, of the terroir. It's much more interesting to taste them.
Right. Yeah. And it's weighted as well. Yeah. I think it's a few weeks at that stage make a big difference.
Gorgeous.
Beautiful nose.
Crazy nose.
Very nice texture. It's got an almost creamy texture.
Wow.
Very nice.
And really just builds, you know, le fin de bouche. It's really long in the finish. It has, what's interesting too, it has the wonderful tannin texture at the end, but really complex flavors, intense, with the lead pencil, violets, everything.
Yeah, very intense aromatics.
Yeah.
And the texture, again, those wines are not difficult to taste at this stage. They're forward, almost approachable.
Wow. Where do you think that, like, is there any wine this already reminds you of, or?
There is a little bit of the 09.
Yeah.
It's got probably more precision than the 09. It's not as bold as the 09, but more precise than the 09 at the same time.
Mm.
But somehow reminds me a bit of the 09.
I think it'll be better than 09.
Hopefully so, yes.
Yeah, more precise.
Yeah.
And also there's more of a freshness to it, more classical style.
It's more classical style, I agree with that. And in terms of precision, I'm very convinced that we are more precise now than back then. The way we work in the vineyard and the selection at the in the shea, it has to have more precision, and you can feel from the texture, the tannins, it's very precise. And I love this velvety structure. It's very mouth-filling and very soft, very delicate.
Me too. It makes you want to drink it right away. I'm just sorry I'm not there. We could just say, okay, let's drink a glass together. Well done.
Yeah, very good.